Hey, so, well, first off, I guess, welcome to the next part of building the helmet and the kind of update on everything, how things are going with the new pattern and all that. So the original helmet is right here. It is now in 2. Why? Because always recycle parts, and I want to recycle this for something else, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but it is going to be for something. But as we all remember, this piece unfortunately doesn't fit on my fat head due to the fact that the neck ring comes in way too far, and due to the thing known as square cube law, when you expand one thing, it doubles everything else, because that's just basic geometry. It's something that you have to always be aware of in this. But I have now made new helmet ring piece, and this piece fits quite nicely. It's a little loose maybe, but I think it will be perfectly fine for what I'm doing. Again, it's not quite as detailed as this helmet is, but I think it will be perfectly fine with this cosplay. And yeah, so kind of just the small update I wanted to do on this project, and I'm going to continue patterning it out. And actually, this is actually a little peek behind the curtain. This is the second time I've had to film this intro. I'm also going to talk about a little bit of the patterning for the specific helmet, because this helmet has a lot more English is fun. A lot more unique bits to it, and I'm going to go over that with a pattern piece. So I'm going to quickly move the camera and cut to the pattern. So, welcome to the patterning table. The pattern we're doing is this piece, which is only half of the back of the helmet, I guess. So the unique part about this piece is that one, has this little cutout in it, which we're just going to do a straight line over. This is to basically locate a detail piece later. But another thing we're going to do, we're actually going to add a little extra onto the top and the bottom, because of the way it attaches to the rest of the helmet. And I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. So let me quickly pattern it out. Oh man, I'm not doing very good for space, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. It'll all work out in the end. So again, probably remember from the second part or third part, no, second part, me talking about patterning. It's a very similar process. It's just kind of me adding a little extra addendum because it's something I forgot, and that is my bad. So go through all the normal steps, and a nice little straight line. Do it very badly, apparently. Where's my whatever, we're just gonna freehand all of it. It'll be fine. Doodle-doo, doodle-dee. Running through, making some lines. Alright, and I'm gonna quickly pop this out. It's annoying that the head keeps coming off. I'm just gonna switch you out. Going to, how did I, that's actually impressive. Okay, missed a line up there. That is 100% my bad. Also, I should mention it's kind of late at night, so if I don't really have anything all that witty to say, that is why. And also because this just legitimately takes up a lot of concentration. because let's remember to do that this time. So, no, as you saw, I'm just flipping it over and I'm butting it up right next to it, so that when I cut it out, it can all be one piece and there's not a seam there, which is very, very nice, because, you know, we like not having seams. It means less work to do in the finishing, which is what I hope to get to in this video. I might, well, probably will, with the power of editing magic. You will see the glory of finishing up a product and other such things in this project. So this project is a lot more than just a helmet. There's a few bits of armor that need to be rescaled or refitted, because again, I probably throw a picture up here. That armor, or this armor, doesn't fit me anymore because I made it going on 5 years ago and it's too small for me now. Anyway, let's see here. Where did my little doodad go? Let's see if I can kind of bring you in a bit closer here. Yeah, there you go. Now you can really see what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add in a little bit to the bottom. It doesn't need to look good because this is purely for gluing purposes. That's it. So we're just going to be adding on extra. That's really bad up there. That's really, ooh boy. Let's kind of, there we go. Let's kind of even it out a bit. Again, this is all purely for gluing, nothing else. And it's just, that's a good thing to have on there, because this top part particularly, I'm actually probably just gonna, let's just kind of doodle-a-doodle-a-doo. Actually, a pretty good one that time. This top part is going to be for the like dome section of the helmet, and this is going to go onto the back neck collar. And it's just much easier to do it like this than it is to do the two angles to get a perfect right angle, which is good for certain bits, but when you have the space, they can just do a, like, basically a butt joint. Do it. It's way easier. Anyway, now after this, hopefully there'll be a helmet fully finished in my hand. So let's see if I can do some magic here. Well, that seems to have worked out pretty well. This is the helmet currently in its very raw form, and also it is very late at night right now. It is currently almost 2:50, so I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll continue filming this in the morning, where you know, I'm not super tired, but no, figured might as well give it a little update. So I'll see y'all, you know, in the morning. Good morning. So, continuing on with the helmet. So it is morning. I have my morning cup of tea. So, now that this helmet is mostly together, now it's going to be kind of the first make it look pretty before you start making it look battered, frayed or apart, I guess. You can see, you know, I like my props very lived in and battered, because that's just the way I do things. And also, sorry if there's any white noise in the background. My computer is currently updating, so yeah. But a very important part also for this helmet in particular is the fact that it needs to be shaped a little bit more, which is something I realized I forgot to talk about, is that you do need to shape foam, and the easiest way to do that is with the heat gun. Any old heat gun will do. You know, it's just a apply heat so it's more malleable and you can kind of push it into the shapes you want it to be in. Oh, now it goes off. I see how it is. And another thing that's useful for that in particular is some form of planishing stake, which I use a boss for a shield. Not everyone will have this, but you can just use any old like glass or metal ball of some form or fashion to kind of help get the shapes you need out of it. Again, it was very late last night and I forgot to even film a section talking about it. Another very important thing, because I'm pretty sure you can even see it from over there, kind of. Yeah, you can kind of see all the seams. Now you can see them very well. There's a kind of help with that. You need a Dremel of varying quality. And with that, you know, a lot of people will use sanding discs, which are great, but I don't really like the texture they often leave behind because they leave a very fuzzy texture, which you can bring down with a heat gun. But what I've found is little like rhinestones, like the soft adhesive or soft abrasives, that pretty much every Dremel ever comes with like a butt ton of for no reason as far as I can tell. Those things, fantastic. They don't bite into the foam really fast. You can really feather it in, and it just helps. And also all the different shapes, it will help with weathering when we get to that part. But again, first what I want to do is kind of take down some of these sharp corners, kind of get some of the seams taken down as well, and there will be some seam filler put into them, which is, I think I have some somewhere around here. Yes, there it is. Have a very old thing of it. It's a flexible caulk seal. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the best. You just apply it, then you have like a little thing of water nearby that you can dip your finger into, and you can smooth it out pretty well. It's also slightly sandable. I wouldn't go too far down that route, but it is. So yeah, that's going to be next segment. After I finish my tea, you'll meet me outside and we'll start doing that. Oh, I almost forgot this. Another important thing to note is that also with heat gunning you can do something called scoring, which is when you basically, because there's a few lines on here that I put on that are just kind of there, not like cutouts or raised or anything. And it's because I'm going to basically use a knife to cut around that and use the heat gun, and it will open up that that incision. And the deeper it is, the wider it will open up. You can also use a soldering iron if you want more burnt look, but also then you have to start dealing with fumes, and I'm not a huge fan of that, so I just use this. And as another thing I should probably mention, is that be careful when using a heat gun. If you hold it on a spot for too long, it will start burning the foam. So do keep that in mind. Anyway, see you outside. So, hello. Welcome to the outside world, where it's really hot, so I'm going to keep this relatively brief. Also, there's a lot of wasps around, like a certain amount of wasps. But, kind of give you an idea, it's kind of the smattering of pieces I'm going to use to try to make this look a little better. Also, I'm going to have some form of eye protection and something for my face. Doesn't need to be a super high intensity, just like it literally just a normal face mask from like COVID or something. Works fine because particles aren't that small, and we're just basically going to be knocking down the edges, softening things up, making it look a little better. And I'm just going to get to that because it's like 100 and some degrees out here. It's really hot because where I live is hot. So I'll turn the camera back on after I finish with this. So, I've now done the grinding part of getting all the lines kind of knocked down. And now I'm going to start using a heat gun to kind of re-close up the cells of the foam. Hopefully, you can kind of be able to see. You know, it looks a lot more curved, and also a lot of the edges are a lot softer. So I'm now going to be spending a lot of time with a heat gun and this later. So yeah, once I finish doing all the heat sealing, I'll then put that on, and then will come all the fun weathering bits. Should be great. See ya. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the different tools that I use, at least, for weathering. And the first, most simple one is a knife. Yes, pretty easy. You know, you can add scratches in. You can kind of gouge it out, you know. Do all the fun kind of just simple things, you know. Just do. And look, now you got a little messed up piece. I'm probably gonna have like a zoom in, and also, like, you know, as I was mentioning earlier, you can do the scoring, which is technically speaking for weathering. The other form, which is very popular, the soldering iron, smells horrible, so always have some form of air thing flowing nearby. I'm just going to do a very, yes. Look at that. Burns right through. Oh boy, that smells bad. Woo! I don't really use soldering iron all that often. It is a popular option. It adds very nice deep grooves, which I might use on the helmet to give it a little extra oomph. But if you want a really good, like, just for beat up, messed up texturing, a wood file. I'm also going to have like pictures in here as well as close-ups, because this doesn't really show you very much. But this can really just dig it in. You get this beautiful little bit, and then it's like, oh, I want it wider. Well, it has a flat and a rounded edge. You can just push that on there, push that on, flatten it out, move around. You get this beautiful, just gnarly texture out of it. And, like, you know, it's like, oh, I don't like the way this edge looks. Take this, take the round end, kind of just brush it in. Brushing it is probably the best way I can describe it. If you need to, you know, kind of move that over it, kind of smooth it out, and get a nice rough texture. This thing's amazing for texturing work. Of course, you know, you could be, you know, weird and kind of go do to get like a fun texture out of it. But again, not really my thing at all. So yeah, just kind of a basis. There's also, of course, different Dremel bits, like I was showing off earlier when doing the contouring, like sanding bits will dig really deep. These are better, the soft stone, and also last forever on this. Like this particular one, I've had for, I think, pushing on 6 years now. 6 years using this exact same one. Like, you can't get better value than that. And there's all these weird little shapes you can get to get different texturing. I think, no, I don't know if it's on any of the pieces near me to grab, but I do have a couple where I've used a piece like this, which has a little pointy on it. I'll also zoom up on these, where, you know, this thing makes really good bullet holes and like bullet ricochets. But yeah, so that's kind of overview, some tools. I'm going to do some weathering, and we're going to take a look at it, and then end the episode. And after that, we're going to talk about painting, my favorite. So I've now done a lot of the weathering. There'll be some close-up pictures for this helmet. Now there's only one last like major detail I need to do, well, besides the visor, obviously, but that I need to do before doing any of the painting, which will be in the next episode, which is specifically, as you can see, with other older helmets, I'll have the flashlight attachment, and that's the last major bit I need for this. But before I go any further, I do want to talk a bit about weathering, honestly. About kind of like the mind process of kind of like, hey, okay, I got this. How much weathering should or shouldn't be on it? Because over weathering is definitely a thing. Like, very much a thing. You can over weather a helmet very easily. And I just kind of want to go a bit over my own personal process, because everyone has a different process for what they think looks good, for what they want out of it. I mean, this one I did a little more experimentation with it than I usually do. As I was talking about in the previous section, talking about the tools, I actually used a lot more of this time around just because I wanted to try a different little texture. And that's kind of the thing, is a lot of the battle damage I like to do, I want it to tell a story. And to me, that's probably the most important part. Because this is going to be kind of the first time I ever mentioned anything about this particular character I am building. He's not based off of anyone from the actual Halo lore. Instead, he is based off of a completely personal character of mine, which is just kind of a character that I really like, the idea of at least. And that's also even what my Spartan suit is also based off of. It's based off the same character who then went through the Spartan 4 program. But basically the story is that, you know, he's a ODST, obviously. He's a hell jumper. That actually wasn't inscribed across his shoulder panel. And he gets told to go on a mission that he ends up getting stuck on a Covenant-controlled planet during the Human-Covenant War. This is before the Forerunners got involved. Well, really involved, let's put it that way. And so he ended up getting stranded and had to survive for 2 years. And this was towards the end. This was like right before, this was 2 years before the Human Covenant War ended. So he was stuck there for 2 years, and when the Human Covenant War ended, they're like, hey, we got this dude that has just been surviving on this planet. And so that's mostly why his armor is so messed up. I'll probably also insert a picture of the chest plate showing how kind of just messed up and all sorts of stuff that is. But, you know, something you have to always remember, particularly about our human body, is a really easy way to end somebody's life is through the head. You know, this kind of controls everything. And so I do a little lighter weathering on the helmet than I do, say, on the chest plate, shoulders, arms, anywhere else. Because, again, you know, your head's very sensitive. It doesn't take a lot to knock your lights out. So that is something that you have to think about. It's like, okay, so he does have pretty decent amount of damage, because like on one side there's a lot more damage, and in my head that's the side he sleeps on. You know, he has to sleep in his armor because, you know, that Covenant planet probably didn't have very breathable atmosphere. So he's constantly laying on one side of the helmet. It's getting scratched up. Made us also decide that he got, you know, maybe got a couple scuffles. That's why it's on that side. You know, there can be a few other bits and bobs, but at the end of the day, again, that's kind of really just up to how you want to tell the story of the character that you brought forward. And another huge part of weathering is going to be obviously the painting. because that's another thing of where, like, painting, it's like, okay, how much dirt did they get on him? How much rust does he allow to accumulate? I mean, technically speaking, rust, at least as far as I'm aware of, doesn't really accumulate all that much on very much Halo armor. But, you know, it still is there. Oxidization still has to happen. But, you know, it's just kind of like, that's how, that's what you want to think of. I don't know how coherent this is. I should have written a script for this. But that's just something that I believe everyone should always be thinking about when making a prop. Is like, okay, so I made the prop, but what's the story of it? You know, as I said, I wanted this helmet to really look like, yeah, it had been through hell, but like clearly whoever owned this helmet was smart enough not to die. And, you know, again, your head's kind of an important part you gotta keep from being, you know, murdered. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of wanted to go over that a bit because, you know, a lot of people talk about, like, you know, oh, hey, this is how you can weather, use these tools, but none of them really go too far into, like, the mindset of it, because, as I said, like, over-weathering is definitely a thing. You can make it to where it's like, okay, what? This guy's just bad at his job at that point. And you can also underweather, where it's like, okay, what's the story? Because, again, at the end of the day, like, especially for doing anything like this, you know, I do believe that, at least partially for some of us, we're doing to tell a story. You know, whether it's people dressing up as Master Chief or as Geralt or any number of very popular people to cosplay, or even people from, like, you know, Star Wars or other things. At the end of the day, you are, you know, stepping into the shoes of a character in that world, whether it be, you know, a original character from the series or if it's your own original creation. You still need to take into consideration that, you know, these worlds have rules. They have, you know, certain bits and things that you need to consider. That's like, okay, you know, how does this work? How does that work? But yeah, I think I'll stop rambling for this video. This will be the end. And hopefully y'all are enjoying the series. Hopefully y'all are enjoying my weird little ramblings and my struggles with building this suit. I mean, again, I have a lot of the suit already built. I guess I haven't really mentioned it here on YouTube, mostly on Instagram. I do have an Instagram at Lego Jab 110. And you know, I have most of it built, but there's still a few other parts I need to rebuild. This is kind of me rebuilding an old suit that I made prior, and again, there's probably, I think I mentioned that previously in this video. But yeah, I was hoping it was going to be an easy project, but never is. I have a larger project planned after this, which I'll mention once I finish this project all up, not just help the whole suit. But yeah, no, if y'all enjoyed this video, you know, maybe consider subscribing, maybe consider leaving a like. I want to try to, you know, have a consistent upload schedule, and, you know, I want to also try to learn and grow and make better content. So, you know, see you in the next episode.